all them completed in what? The campaign. They want to vote. They want to engage the political office holders. They want to hold them. We need that kind of a people. We involve in all the criteria of electioneering. But it's so bad today that even if you want to be involved in campaign, because the terrain is terrible, people get killed, so people are afraid. So that's why I don't want to dwell on that. That people must get involved in the campaign, because it's a difficult task to do. But I want to say this, that the prosperity and development of Plateau State is dependent on our active participation or engagement in the political leadership recruitment process. We are the one to tell people these are the things. That's why we said we must engage them. We must interrogate them. We must investigate them. We must subject them to what? To a thorough, meticulous scrutiny to understand their capacity. No wonder the scripture says, when the righteous and authority, the people rejoice. When wicked and authority, people groan. So, and it says, most people that actually occupy position in Nigeria today, there are people that lack vision. Visionless individual. People without idea. People that don't even know why they are there. I can't be a leader and I will be there without a clue what I'm to do. It can't be. Why are you a leader? That's nothing spectacular. I said on air that day. I said the governor of Plateau State keep telling people that he has paid salary. There's nothing spectacular in paying salary. I can't clap for him. Because people work, they earn it. It's their entitlement. Do something spectacular by bringing something new. We have somebody that is so good to create ventilators. These are people now that people develop them. We want to have a ventilator, a manufacturing edifice on the plateau where we can be something in this world. That is when I will clap for a governor that does that. You must what? Open outside the box. I said it. If today you remove the issue of federation account money that are coming from Abuja, a lot of people will not accept with governors because they don't have the idea. They are not savvy. They are not cerebral. They don't understand how to think outside the box. People without idea.
So in other words, we are looking for people who are cerebral.
People with idea.
People with idea.
People with passion. People with character. People with purpose. People that are passionate to change the lives of the people. Why is it that we must participate in terms of political process? We're on the process. Because what? The bedrock of political leadership is public interest and public good. That is all about it. What is leadership? Leadership is simple what? It's simple trust, service, selflessness, sacrifice. You make a positive influence by making a sacrifice. When people have trusted me to be a leader, I must make an impact. I can't be there for 4 years and there's nothing to show for. So that's why this time around on the plateau we said, come, we must begin to look and scrutinize this individual. We're going to, this platform this is just a preamble. It's a foundation. It's going to be deeper as we go on, as we progress. If you're going to be governor on the plateau, for instance, my brother Santos is going to be governor, we'll come here and we'll dissect and naked him. We will tell people, what is his track record? What has he done? We must begin to do that for us to make a headway as far as Plateau State is concerned. We are looking at the situation whereby another issue that we must participate is what? When it comes to party politics. We have allowed people that they don't have an idea to be leaders of the party. Where the problem lies on the plateau in terms of political leadership is from the party. Because of the corrupt and manipulative tendency, practices, and proclivities, people that ought not to be there, they have been given ticket. And there are people contesting. Because politics in Nigeria today is transactional. Do I have money? I can buy them. They can give me the ticket. Nobody cares. I know that this person has no competence, has no capacity, but it's transactional. He can pay me so we can make way for him to have the ticket. These things 2020 must stop. This nonsense must stop. We must have people that when it comes to party politics, we must own the process. We get people who is the chairman of the party, public secretary of the party, publicity secretary, people that are competent, people that have vision, people that know what it means to be in politics. Politics is not a place where any other person, we need people that have quality in terms of character. People that you can't change, you can't manipulate, you can't corrupt. These are people where we have a problem in Nigeria today is from the party, where you talk about primaries. The person has money, 10 million, he buys the delegate. That's why we are saying that when it comes to primary, it shouldn't be delegate, it should be every other person. Open the place for everybody to participate so that I can know I have I'm saying this person should go for me. But where you have delegates, you just come and corner them in a particular hotel and settle them. They come and vote. And unfortunately, our people, the problem of bad leadership is not really attributable to what? Leaders, even the followers. Because they lack conscience. They sell their conscience for morsel of bread, immediate gratification, and they what? Get people, corrupt people into corridors of power. And that's why we are still crying to today, and we don't know what to do. But 2023, the trajectory must change.
Thank you very much. So if you are a member of the All People's Congress, do you pay your dues? Are you a dues-paying member? If you are going for party meeting, does somebody give you transport money to go back home? The food you eat in the party meeting, who provides it for you? These are questions that you ponder, and it is in that way that you trade the power and quality of your citizenship. Bawa, I thank you so very much for that intervention. Like I said, is hashtag 2023 conversation. We're not putting people on the spot. We're extraying issues so that we can tease out an agenda. And I call it Citizens' Charter of Demands. The plateau must have a situation in which, in the next conversation, we are going to have those who are aspiring be on the platform with us. And it is that your charter of demands that we are using to engage them. How innovative will you be? If today the federal allocation dries up, what will you do to generate resources for the people of Plateau? And for you that is listening to us across Plateau and across Nigeria, the cost of potato has something to do with who is your chairman of a local government. The cost of carrots is connected to who is your governor. If his agric policy is not one that is people-centric, you cannot grow your carrots. And even if you grow, you cannot bring it to where it can be purchased. So, in this attitude of I don't care, 2023 must be that year in which we have a citizen movement that helps us to galvanize and ask questions. We are in a democracy, and the difference between democracy and totalitarian rule is the ability of citizens to ask questions. Steve Aluko, you've been around this in trenches, expelled from the university, recalled. Now you have plenty of master's degrees. You've been doing this. In this agenda setting, in line with what we have given to you to, what is uppermost in your mind for citizens' engagement and power?
I think first and foremost, my own concept of democracy is resource democracy. And what's the best resource? The people. Another angle to my own understanding of democracy is resource generation. Because either you like it or not, the resource you generate will give life to the type of governance you give. And that is why we must not accept the excuse that those in government are giving us that they don't have this, they don't have that, and that's why they are not able to perform optimally. So having placed my position on resource democracy, that your government must be in the best interest of the people, and also going further to say that resource generation must be the basis on which you get people. And I think that is the first agenda that I'm setting. We must get people that believe in resource democracy, that believe that the resources of the people must serve the people and in the very best interest of the people. We must also get people into elected office that will make sure that it's not about resource allocation, but resource generation. Eze is just talking about carrot, Irish, and the rest of it. We should be looking for a governor, a House of Assembly member, or even president that will be able to utilize our resources to the best benefit, to the optimum and maximal level that it will be to the benefit of all. And having said so, what is the picture of what we have now in comparative to the military era? I tell you, it's the same. The same hangover of frustrating and collapsing democratic institutions is still what we have. As of yesterday, government at different levels have not been able to secure INEC office. And if we are moving towards 2023, an INEC office that belongs to institution to governize election cannot be secure, cannot be defended, cannot be protected. It gives us a picture of what we should expect in 2023 if we don't act well. And this is where the citizens come in. The citizens have it as their constitutional right to get involved, not only after election, not only during election. We must be involved before, during, and after election. How do we get involved? Part of getting involved is agenda setting. And this is where it comes in. If anybody is coming for an office, and we cannot situate him in resource generation and resource democracy, that person is not fit. And what do we expect of that person? What we expect of that person that is going for public office on the plateau, on any state and any country, is the 3 C's that I'm presenting. One must be somebody with strong character. What do I mean by somebody with strong character? Somebody that have the courage to say the truth and stand by the truth. When his people are being victimized, when his people is being maimed, when his people is being berated as victims and traumatized in their own state and in their own villages, that governor should be able to stand for them, and that president should be able to stand to defend them. And beyond that, we must also have somebody that also have the courage to be firm. It's not enough for our people in government taking oath but does not have courage to respect the oath of the Constitution. We must also look for people that have the courage to affirm what is right and to discipline and sanction what is evil. We must not have people in government houses, in state assembly, in national assembly that cannot give us the very best of what we expect. And the last one I'll still be talking about, apart from the strong character, courage, is that we must also have people that have integrity. I'm not talking about fostered integrity. Integrity in terms of where were they before they aspire for office, where are they while in office, and where they can be after the office. It is very, very important. No matter what the template we set, the people must own it. The people must promote it. The people must mobilize people across those lines. And this is where people's involvement is key. As citizens, we must be able to organize, we must be able to mobilize, and we must be able to engage. And our engagement follow all these traditions. Before the election, during the election, and after the election, we should be able to hold people accountable. If it's state assembly member, we should be able to hold them accountable. If it's national assembly member, we should be able to hold them accountable. If it's at the executive office, we must be able to hold them accountable. And why must we do this? Because at the end of the day, it is us that suffers it. If we cannot hold them accountable at different levels. Statement made before election, during election, and after election should be a covenanted statement that people must hold people accountable for. And this is why we must look for people that have the fear of God, that knows that not only will they give account to humanity, but at the end they will give account to people. As I begin to round up, if we go to the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 10, from verses 1 to 9, it tells us clearly that when we fail our duty as citizens, we get what? Dishonorable people being acknowledged as being honorable. We have people that are not excellent in spirit, in thought, and in mind, being acknowledged as being excellent. So if we must get the honorable to be in the seat of power, and the excellency to be in the seat of power, it also goes fundamental that we put in place a process that is people driven, a process that is people centered, a process that is people oriented. And this is the challenge that we must bring before the Ninth Assembly, even as they are going up by their alteration, whatever they are doing, to tell them that they are not open enough, to tell them that they are not accountable enough, to tell them that they are not transparent enough, for them not to have given us a defined, a resource-based electoral regime. It's an insult on the populace of Nigeria that we are going to election year. INEC have given us a timetable, and we do not have a credible electoral framework on which to engage. Because if we must participate, the electoral reform must give us the space, and it must open the space. And that is why the people must critically engage it and ask the National Assembly that they should extricate the process of having
a people-driven, accountable, and transparent electoral regime for us now before we can move on. Because if we don't get it set, at the end of the day, somebody may have the best criteria to be in office. If the electoral process is not transparent and accountable, and the process will be jettisoned. And this is the fundamentally way of getting it right, because if the process is not right, the end result cannot be the best. Finally, on this, we must hold people accountable even when they are voted in office, even when they lose election. And beyond that, we must be able to stand as a people to punish parties that give us bad candidates and candidates that never merit the office. And we must be able to celebrate even individual and other people to make sure that the best people is what we have. Finally, when Nigeria wins a national election or a national football game, all of us celebrate. That same spirit we must take into the electoral pool to make sure that we get the right people on board.
Thank you, Steve. So, there is an assignment for us to go and read Ecclesiastes chapter 10 from verse 1 to 9. And also to tell your brothers and sisters that will be contesting election that verse of the Bible is important, whether they are members of coaching or they are Catholics. Is that okay? Because the progression of leadership in Plateau has been within the indigenous churches. So it means that everybody who has come here should have read those verses that he talked about. The governor is a Catholic, his deputy is a Kokin. The one that was before him was a Kokin, So Plateau is blessed to have people who should have fear of God. And those who are coming after these ones must then be people that we can hold accountable. That there is nowhere any church will tell you to steal people's money. There is no church that I've heard where they tell you when you get to government, inflict poverty on the people. It's not part of the faith. So why do we have different versions of what we're getting? So those are salts before you come to taste, to give taste to the conversation. Chicas, you come from a political tradition, right? Yes. And you've been an activist and an activist of remote. I follow your work in women, and you are, the beauty of the work that you do is that you are not just talking about women. You're also talking about citizen engagement. You've listened to the lead conversation. Is there something that struck a chord with you that you want to highlight?
Thank you so much. Let me start by appreciating the conveners, the organizers for putting this together. When I received the call to be here, I was a little bit, I was thinking, okay, is this just going to be another conversation, or is there a plan to drive this beyond this, the lights, the camera, and everything? Recently, I found myself speaking on panels and being the only woman speaking. And in most instances, the youngest person on the panel. And here we're talking about civic engagement. We're talking about citizens' participation in a democracy. And we're all here. We've all agreed when the question was asked, are we satisfied with the class of leadership that we have? No one rose his hand up. Everybody is dissatisfied. And I make bold to say this morning that we all are responsible for that. You know, it's quite exciting when you're speaking and then you insult the leaders, you say bad things about the leadership. People get excited because they always point the finger at them. But how about the fingers that are pointing right back at us? I'm making this point to say that half of the population have consistently been ignored, and these are the women. Then 70% of the population, who are the youths, are not given a chance. How are they not given a chance? People will argue, yes, we see young people participating in politics, speaking for politicians and all that. But before you assume the position of leadership, it has been mentioned here that the process is monetized. Do young people have the money to engage the process? do women have the financial capacity to engage the process, to be on the leadership table? Because you cannot, how I've understood the politics is once you're speaking from outside, you won't be taken seriously. You have to be on that table. And to be on that table means that you're bringing in your ideas and bringing in new perspective to how we need to solve the Nigerian problem. And if we're to solve the problems, the people wearing the shoes should be given the chance to do that. And if as young people and women who are the majority are not given that space, we will not have the quality of leadership we want. Talking about women, I'm going to start with that before I come to the young people. Talking about women, talking about health, can we talk about health without giving women the space to engage the space? The political space has the power to decide what happens in the health sector. Women are the ones who give birth. They take children to the hospital. They are the ones that understand how bad that sector is. Talking about education, women naturally are leaders. They are teachers. They start teaching the children right from when they start talking. Why are they not given the space? Despite the fact that we all go to school alongside the men, but once it comes to this other side of leadership, we're not taken seriously. And the minute you start talking about gender, they say, you don't bring your Belgian issue here. But this is not about Belgium. This is about finding solution to the Nigerian problem. And we must take it all serious because we have mothers, we have sisters, and we have friends. And in every conversation you're having, whether within the family or in any group, you will attest to the fact that women have very brilliant ideas to contribute to any conversation. And so far in this country, yes, people have been complaining. Even for the current issue that is boiling, which is security, there's a gender angle to it. All the security structure, we don't have women controlling any of it. We don't have women having a say in how things are run in that sector. And coming about that security is local. Women are the ones who stay at home. They know who is the newcomer in every environment. They know who is the stranger. They know what happens at every unit. But even at that unit, when decisions are to be taken about the security, women are not there to say it. Let me give you an example. There was a time we were having a conversation about the attacks that were going on in another location. So the women now said that they noticed that for certain days or weeks, some group of men are not always around. Then attacks now happen elsewhere. That is to tell you that these women have an idea, to give us a clue that these people are either suspects or they should be arrested and be interrogated. But because these women are not given the space to say, okay, can we make a decision on how we to tackle these security issues, nobody hears them. And it is important to have a voice on every table until and unless we have an inclusive society. All of these issues will come here in the next 10 years and will still be complaining. Talking about young people, I ran for office in 2019. I didn't run because I wanted to show that I have arrived. I ran out of anger that I've lived all my life in this country and I've never seen this country work. The only thing you get to hear is the good old days. What happens to us now? And as a student of John Maxwell, I understand that everything rises and falls on leadership. And if we're to fix the leadership problem, we must engage the young people. They are the most active citizens we have in this country. When I ran, in fact, if you're to run as a young person, let me say this. The first thing people will ask you is, do you have money? Do you have money to engage the process? And that's not supposed to be. Are we now saying that the children of the poor that have the passion and the capacity to lead this country cannot become leaders? Young people are heavily marginalized. Women are marginalized. I have to be switching to speak for women and youths because on every conversation we are hardly represented. Like even the way we are seated here, you can see that I'm the only woman. So I don't know whether I should protest or I should just go on. So back to the inclusion point I was trying to make. if young people are only seen by the political class, good for thuggery and for all the violence that comes with election, then how are we going to build the trust of young people to understand that these people that we entrust them with power can solve our problems? Because a number of times, yes, we have young people talking on the social media, complaining about how things are so bad, but once it comes to appointment, do you give them the space to say that we think you have something to offer? Can you come here and occupy this office? And one thing that is important for us to have young people is because the current challenges we are faced with in this country, issue of unemployment and the security, for which young people are the active participants in that area, it then means that the young people have the language to speak to their fellow young ones, to understand. Because if you're bringing an old man to understand my issue, honestly, I won't trust him, because he has long lived past the time to understand what I'm currently going through. But if you bring in a young person that understands my language, if you bring in someone that looks like me, that can critically understand what is going on, believe you me, he's going to be in a better position to go for solutions.
Thank you very much. You are not clapping for her. Clap for her very well. First, because you will not know how many women were invited and how many did not want to come. Yes. So that's also very important. Sometimes the work that goes to get this kind of event going, you will never. I also know the story of how eventually you agreed to come. You didn't want to come in the first place. So it will have been an all-men's panel if you didn't come. And nobody will know that you were invited. Now, there are issues that she has raised, and those issues are not compatible with democracy. We gave him power. We gave her the platform. We gave her the ticket. Those are for appointments. And that is why we are talking about 35% for appointive positions. Whether in Plateau or elsewhere, you don't have people appointing young men and women into political offices. That one that is not contest. Democracy is a competitive enterprise. It's a contest. Election is a contest. So if we're going to create more spaces that we will consign to affirmative action, that is part of what the conversation is across the country. So we must stay on those issues for the purpose. Young people, nobody is going to give you power. You are going to have to take it. And the way to take it is to join the political parties. Bola Ige was a national publicity secretary of the Action Group at the age of 29. He did not become governor until 1983. But at 29 years, he was already national publicity secretary of the Action Group. So the lessons that we have to learn for participation is not to say, give me. Mm-hmm. Give me. The person that gives you has superiority over you. Mm-hmm. If I give you, I have superiority. If I contested for it, you cannot ask me questions. We have to be very clear about that. Yeah. We're going to have opportunity to ask questions. Yeah. We are going to have to take calls. Mm-hmm. But that will start as soon as SALT gives us a taste of the closing from this panel side. And then we'll begin to take questions both from the audience and from our virtual participants. Please take your 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, sir, the convener. I must also commend you for this idea, the moderator and panelists. Sincerely appreciation. And to the wonderful audience. Of course, SALT preserves. SALT also keeps it in place. SALT, as we know, is medicinal. SALT, as we know, also brings life to humanity. It's nutritional. It is very advantageous when you speak last. You have the advantage of weaving all the thoughts. I appreciate, sir. Sincerely, when people talk about agenda setting, I look at the team. And my commendation, sir, the way you're moving with this, it's getting into the minds of people. And people do understand the conversation even before it starts. Planning is key. This is a planning stage. And I appreciate this because it's a hashtag. It goes on right into 2023. But do Nigerians understand what you call a civil rule in military functions and a democracy where the basic key qualities are taken away from the citizens? And that is why, looking at this conversation, it talks about citizens' engagement. What is the circle of engagement? It talks about citizens' participation. What is the circle of participation? It also talks about citizens' power. What are the concentric circles of power? When you are finishing your statements, you talked about give. When you give and then you take, you're a beggar. And when you turn yourself into a beggar, you're a second-class citizen. Those who are there are not better than any one of us seated here. Neither are they better than anyone. But the truth about it is that, do we understand these key elements in terms of what you call a democracy? The rule of law. I'm glad Prof is here. How many Nigerians understand the rule of law? Like you said, sir, how many Nigerians have the Constitution? Just browse through it. How many Nigerians understand the Electoral Act? And what in the Electoral Act gives rise to the vicious circle of rigging that starts from internal democracy that is not found in parties? They look at you. Who are you? Who is your father? It starts there. They appoint their cronies and they appoint people who have nothing to offer. And it brings us back to what my brother here talked about, the characters and a sister. And I look at this and I say, even if your father is a chief, he will never tell you come and take power. He will never tell you come and take power. So what is the process? You must participate in it. And in this engagement that we're talking about, an engagement at the stage of an engagement, how do we engage with ourselves, with our peers? How do we engage in our political circles? How do we engage in being party members? How do we engage in internal democracy within parties that is missing completely, 100% missing? We don't stand to be corrected about that because there is no democracy in parties. And once there is no democracy in parties, you find people fixing people. And when they fix people, they fix them with conditions. And when they fix them with conditions, they come on board and play to those conditions to the detriment of majority of Nigerians. 83 million Nigerians cannot eat $1 a day. We're not amongst them. We're elites. In the cycle of elites, we're the victims because we're the ones who are closest to the people, those that we've enabled by our representative democracy or whatever you call it, civil rule, are the ones who are now using the same security against citizens. If a governor breaches traffic light, who should obey it? Is he above the law? If a governor comes and scares people who voted him in tinted glasses, is he supposed to be that? What agenda are we setting for that? And I say this with all due sense of responsibility, that when you sit down and you wait for power to come and meet you, you have lost it. And I tell people, participation is not you must win. Participation is that you must provide an option and a platform for people to have the option to vote you or to vote those people. And if they vote those people, please don't complain. 4 years is a tenure. So wait for that 1 million they gave you and that salt they gave you, eat it for 4 years, 365 multiplied by 4, and see how you also serve as a conspirator to your own undermining. And I tell people, don't complain. It's governance period. Allow them to govern. If they don't govern, what are we supposed to do? What agenda are we setting as a people in terms of agenda for governance? The time of pre is during party politics. When it leaves party politics to during the election, you also see participation of people very abysmal. And I say that if we're setting an agenda, what type of engagement are citizens involved in it? Is it from the point of saying they have rights like every other person, which also is a variable of the key of democracy? Equality. I have a vote from 18 years up. What is the population of youths and women? When you talk about marginalization, I cry for the women. But thank God for the 35 information that you said. But only in appointive positions. Women can rule this country until men begin to beg them. And women and youths. Youths can rule this country until men above the age of 35 begin to beg them for power. And that is where you come to the table and negotiate power. But you cannot sit down. Look at what is happening in Rwanda, Belgium. Women are taking the space by themselves. They are not sitting to complain. We've been marginalized for political offices. And I thank you, sir, for clearly defining appointive representation and affirmation action and democratic one. So if women and the youth who form more than 65 million can vote, how many votes did it take for a president to win? And then when you come to the legislature, like my brother said, do they even understand the agenda as legislators? They don't. What are people supposed to do for legislators who don't consult them, who don't have constituency offices? Recall them. Is there a law of recall? Yes. Has it ever been tried? Yes. Did it work? Yes. In other climes. In Nigeria, they begin to talk about religion. He's from my church. He's from my denomination. He's from my village. Okay, fine. You want your village man to be there. When you start suffering, are there poor, only one poor denomination?
So hunger has no tribal marks.
Has no, thank you, sir.
Poverty has no tribal marks.
Correct.
What is important for us in this conversation, SALT, which is what you have distilled, is to continue to raise those qualities. So you are asking for governors, people in power who will obey traffic lights. As simple as that.
Simple as that.
If we get leaders who can obey traffic lights, they will obey other things.
Exactly.
And so those are very key issues that we're going to return to you.
Okay.
Because our live audiences are getting itchy. They also want to join this conversation. I would open up the lines. I will call Sam to tell us the number, but as soon as you do that, I will take from the chairman of the APC, who is here to make his intervention, and then we open the lines for conversation. Thank you.
All right, for our online audience. Okay, for those who are listening to us on the various radio stations, I'd like to recognize again and thank all the radio stations that are on the line. I'm alive on KCFM 103.9, we're live on JFM 101.9, we're live on Living FM 93.7, we're live on KCFM 93.3, we're live on Fire Radio, we're also live on all the mediums and of course online. For those of you wondering where those who my page now and share links and all that. So if you want to call into the town hall now, we can take your calls on 080-64-64-1536. Once again, 080-64-64-1536. We have a lot of comments. I don't know if you're going to
After the intervention.
Okay, so once again, this time, let's engage hashtag 2023 conversation. Those also are here for 20 business. Let's begin to move the traffic about some of the thoughts that are coming here, what you want to today on Facebook, particularly on Twitter, where hashtag 2023 conversations. And let's begin to push these conversations forward. Once again, I want to thank all the radio stations who are on live right now and who does this time of God. And you can do that on 080-6464-1536. Back to you, Professor.
Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm conceding the space to the APC chairman. Please give him the microphone. That is in line with giving honor to whom it is due.
Thank you very much for the opportunity that has been given to me to contribute on the subject under discussion. When I look at the hashtag 2023 conversations, I felt it was virtually what the APC did in 2015, 2014, 2015. Under my leadership, we took a decision to deviate from the normal way of campaigning because we believe that it has not been given the opportunity to the citizens to participate effectively. And we came up with what we call the town hall meetings at that time. We engaged the 58 ethnic communities on the plateau. And we went around and had heart-to-heart discussion with all the ethnic communities that made up Plateau State. It was to give them the opportunity to contribute. It was to give us the opportunity to understand their feelings about governance. And that gave us a focus. After that conversation, we also engaged the spiritual leaders, both the Muslim and Christian spiritual leaders. Through CAN, through GNI, Ulama, we met with them. Because at that time, the issues that was bedeviling Plateau was so enormous that if we do not engage the citizens appropriately, we may not get it right. So I am very comfortable with the discussion that is going on because that has been the spirit in my political party. And so we will continue to engage citizens, we will continue to listen to them, and as a result of that conversation, we came up with our 5-point policy in the first regime of Governor Simon Bakolalo. The number one was issue of security. If people in government don't make security business, there will be peace. There will be peace. Because we realized that it was a two-way situation. As much as we are crying, if people in government were not committed to it, and it was like being used for political issues, we felt the first thing was to say no to insecurity. And we thank God that to a reasonable extent, Plateau have remained peaceful for quite a while. We may have situations like kidnapping, which is beyond anybody's imagination. Initially, it was cattle rustling. Maybe they are tired of carrying loads of cows all over the place. They have now deviated to kidnapping human beings. This is beyond any political party's solution. It's a problem for Nigeria. It's a problem that will require this kind of engagement and conversation. It is only then we may be able to have a direction in what we are doing. I agree with you that this kind of conversation will help in defining the characters that we put forward. That was what we did in 2014. We look at the candidates that were going to go for the gubernatorial ticket. We look at their antecedents. Have they been in politics? What has been their antecedents? Can we trust them? Have they remained focused? Or are they the type that can be swayed by financial approaches? And we used those indices and we came up with our solution for the kind of candidates we were going to put forward. And I think we have never regretted it. We are still moving. There have been by-elections, both in the southern. We are having one now for Bassa Jos North. We are engaging the communities. We are sitting with them. We are discussing with them. If somebody is going to represent Bassa Jos North, for example, he must be somebody who understands Bassa, who understands Jos North. Not simply because he has some money in his pocket, then we carry him and take him to the National Secretariat. This has been my discussion with the various communities. And so when you are putting up forward candidates, we have never believed in imposition of candidates. If there is anything that I can stand up, yes. Yes. Hello? Yes, just listen. Those of them who are in the APC, they know that there has been never any interference in the process of party primaries. I will give you an example, sir. In the recent senatorial by-election in the southern zone, it was news all over the place that the governor was imposing a candidate. And that was not the scenario. The scenario was that APC as a political party took a decision that the deceased senator, Senator Longjan, was from Kwampan. And all we did was to appeal to other candidates that they should allow Kwampan to finish the tenure. And whoever was going to contest, we advised he should come from Kwampan. But that it was an appeal. It was not a law. And in that context, there were those who disagreed with it and went to it. So the idea that somebody was imposing somebody, we have never had that kind of experience. It may look like so. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is that APC has been a respecter of engaging the citizens in deciding their leaders.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for the APC chairman. Let me tell you this, and I will tell you for free. I'll tell you for free, as somebody who's been involved in this engagement for a while, it is not all the time that you see a political party in power honor invitations. So if he did find the time to come here to engage with us, the best we can do is to clap for him. And I'm serious, I'm very serious about it. This invitation for the opted time was shared to all political parties. And the sense we get when we spread these invitations is that it is the dominant political parties that don't attend. They don't attend. So I have a lot of respect for your participation, and I thank you so very much. So, having said that, you have the numbers. Sam, if you are close, can we take those comments while we are waiting for the numbers? If you are around, can we take the comments that have come in? And then open up the lines for just a few calls. I come back to my panel, and then I take, I take a few from the audience again, okay. the in-house audience, and then we move on.
I was starting with the
comments. Give me comments first.
Okay, comments. For those of you here who may not want to come in here, you can also send us your comments. Okay, this program is also my loving, and okay, let me just take away the comments.
Are there questions?
There are no questions. These are just comments. That's not. So we need you to send in your comments to us if you have a question. But if you have a comment, please do that.
Maybe we should take one or two calls from the audience. Okay, for those of us listening to us on radio, you can call us now on 080-6464-1536, 080-6464-1536. Are we ready for the calls to come through? Okay, so please call us 080-6464-1536. Can we pick the first caller on the line, please? Felix, hello. 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 Hello, how are you? Hello. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the town hall, the hashtag 2023 conversations. Okay. Okay, in the Plaza House of Assembly. Hello, we can hear you. Go ahead, please. Okay, he's gone. Please start again. 080-6464-1536. Okay, we have another call on the line. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Okay, he's gone. When we get that right, because we don't have all the time, we have less than 25. Let's take comments. Okay, hello, good morning. Hello, we can hear you. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, what's your name? Where are you calling from? My name is Daniel from Redfield. Quickly, you have 20 seconds. 20 seconds? You have 20 seconds. Okay. I think that's why we're talking about citizen engagement here. If you begin to notice who those politicians are, it's time to take them out. That's why we're here. He's saying that if you identify whoever they are, take them out. Punish them, as my uncle here will say, Steve Aluko, by not voting for them. It's simple. Whoever they are, wherever they come from. We'll take some interventions from the public. Okay. One more.
No, it's okay. Let's take from the audience.
Okay, from the audience.
The gentleman on glasses.
Gentleman in glasses, okay.
Give him a mic, please.
Good morning, panelists. My name is Akpala. I represent Committee for Defense of Human Rights here. I want to say something here that is an opportunity to broaden this discussion. 80% of the people in the town hall here are practically part of the elite. And if we say from one of the panelists there that politics is local, then the assignment really is with us here. Now, while the moderator was speaking, he said something about Bola Ige at the age of 29. What again we have distracted ourselves from is that the youth wings of the political parties, how are they functioning? To the satire of the whole country, a 50-something-year-old person was elected as youth leader of one of the political parties in recent past, and nothing happened. Now, what are the party manifestos? What do the manifestos say if we don't have independent candidates in Nigeria? Are the manifestos really different? Have we really even discussed these party manifestos? How does it capture the diversity of Nigeria as a whole? And what are the developmental visions within these manifestos? And then we also have issues of campaign slogans and campaign promises. We shout about accountability of leadership. Outside the crowd mobilizing and dancing, how many elected officers have been held accountable for the promises made during election campaigns?
Okay, moderator, may I intervene at this point? Okay. That we keep the discussion also. Let's not forget that we are talking about citizens' engagement. What can we do? What is our charter? What is our demand? So that we can stay within that. And so I think you have enough time already. I'm sorry, because there's so many people who want to talk.
I want to have women and young people contribute.
Okay, so who are we going to?
There are women in this hall, so if you don't contribute, don't hold anybody accountable for that. I don't want chicas penalizing me for... So you are here now, it's an opportunity. Watch and see how many people are raising their hands. No, I'm not talking about young men, I'm talking about young women. Please go ahead. Thank you.
So who am I taking?
Yeah?
Who am I taking?
Use your discretion now.
Okay then. This man's hands has been... Let's keep it short. Keep it as short as possible.
Yes. So you take care, you take care. Okay.
Thank you. Good morning all. My name is Solomon Majidadi, and I want to thank the convener for this great event. Citizens engagement, yes. We engage, we get engaged by joining political parties, citizens participation. Okay. Citizen participation, from voters registration, we participate. Now, I want to ask, citizens' power, where the bulk of the situation or the issues are. After engaging, participating, at the end of the day, you see that our power after voting by those that are in the office will be truncated. We try our possible best to see that we vote those who we want to be in office. But at the end of the day, the parties or the government of the day tends to select whoever they wish or they want to select. Now, that brings me to the welcome address of the APC state chairman. Yes. We are approaching the local government election and then the Bassa Just Not election. Sir, I want to plead, please allow the will of the people to show. Let it not be that it is a particular state that is governed by a particular party, that the whole 17 local governments will be elected under one party. No. Let it not be the case of a state which has 44 local governments and all the chairmanship and all councillors are from the 44 local governments. I want to thank you for this great opportunity.
Thank you very much. You can take from here.
Okay, I'm coming to you, sir.
Okay. Good morning, moderator and the panel. My name is Osuji Franklin. I've been participating in election right from time. What I've realized is the process is designed to align with those in power against the citizen. And the politicians themselves, those in power or our rulers, are high-risk gamblers. They even invest their life to get this power. So how can you fight them? What we should be looking at now is how to mobilize. People are raising money through the internet for a cause. If we can organize ourselves, if every well-meaning Nigeria is contributing ₦1, and then people with integrity, it's difficult now because even politicians, when they tell you good morning, you have to check your wristwatch. If people with integrity, those that are willing to sacrifice, can go down, because naturally we have a structure. Nigeria has a structure. From the village, you have the village headman, headmen, you have in the church, you have the leaders, but most times the fish rottens from the head. Most of them are rotten. So if we can raise objective people in these communities to take the process and challenge these people, if they know that they are being watched, they will change their system. And even the politicians will now bring someone objective because they won't want to lose the power.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
So democracy is, give it to the next person. Democracy is not just for objective people. What is important is the process. If the process throws up an objective person, you vote for that objective person. If another process did not bring an objective person, because sometimes we give the impression that all we are looking for is objective people. I'm clarifying this so that let us be democrats. Let's first be democrats. And democracy is about process. Exclusion is to say that because people are not educated, that they cannot be voted. If you didn't go to school and your people want you, and a political party brings you up, they should vote you. If you get to the National Assembly, they should give you interpreter. That is what education, that's what democracy is about. So we must school ourselves. First, Nigeria is running democracy without democrats. People who want advantages for themselves and their class, but don't want that advantage for other people. So we must spread these advantages in a way that is inclusive, and I think that is what all of us are talking about. So the next question. We will take 2 more questions. We come back to the panel. We'll take 2 more questions. There's okay, so immediately you take him, you take the lady, and then you take one here. We come back to the panel because we are going off air by 11 o'clock on the dot, and we want to be able to take my panel before we go off. Yes. Okay. All the ladies will speak. Please be fast. Just make your comment in.
Hello. Okay.
Make your quick comment.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Daniel Obekpa, a legal practitioner, also representing a CSO here. And my first comment quickly is as to the keynote address presented by my prof and also my able MBA chairman. When it comes to issue of constitutional amendment, when the prof, spoke about issue that there's no need for a review of the constitutional amendment. Yet there are instances he made mention of when it comes to judicial autonomy. Yes, we agree that the law has been there. What is needed is enforcement. But it is a dissenting view I would like to present here is there is need for constitutional amendment. Because without the constitutional amendment, the executive, when the military or the police, they also use the opportunity to enforce or to impose some of those positions that are stated in the law. Talk of the state police. Talk of what happened to Onogen when it comes to removal and appointment of judges. Talk of even the President Buhari's qualification. When the court now upheld that, since it is not stated that it must be secondary school or university, an affidavit is enough. On this basis, it is a grant for us for elect for constitutional amendment. And quickly also, when...
It's okay, sorry. We're doing our time, please. So I need to cut and moderate this, please. Please. Yes, there's a lady whose hand is here. Can we take her?
The 2 ladies.
Okay, the 2 ladies. Okay.
Take them and then we come back to the panel.
Okay, good morning all. My name is Gwamkert Gwamji. I'm a media professional. talking about 2023 conversations, mine is about accountability. Recently, I saw a conversation on Twitter on accountability, and we're talking about, should we hold our political leaders whom we have employed via the ballot accountable while they are in office, or when we are doing that, we begin to hear questions of, should you throw the baby and the bathing water? Some adage that don't even make sense. A question was, one of the issues was about Pantami, and somebody came and tweeted that if it was Plateau people, they will drag their own. Do we even have the moral, political and social morality, to do these things, to hold each other? Do those people even feel accountable to us? Do they think that we have employed them? And do they even see us worth being, accountable to? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please, let's introduce ourselves properly too. Thank you.
Good morning, House. My name is Ruth Abo, a retired broadcaster. Actually, at this point, I don't think we should be talking about marginalization. If I can speak for the women, I think we're talking human rights and women's rights. Human rights and women's rights. If at this point the House will agree with me that we have leaders who will keep to their promises. I'll refer us back to the issue of the 35% affirmative action. Since that document was signed, I don't think our elected representatives kept to their promise. So I think it's high time you encourage us now that once there's a promise, once there's a document that has been signed, it must be adhered to. If we have the 35% affirmative action, I don't think our women will be talking about marginalized. In fact, it's not even, it is our fundamental human rights. So it must be addressed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a lady there.
Where? Okay, she's the one that just spoke.
Okay, she's the one that just spoke. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Just hold it there. We'll come back to you. I'll start with Chikas. You saw, you've seen the conversation, you've seen the trend. I want you to share your closing thoughts around hashtag 2023 conversation in line with both what the callers and our live audience has posed.
Okay, thank you so much once again. Talking about 2023 conversations. I'm quite excited that people are listening, people are contributing, and even with the audience in the hall here, people want to air their opinion on what they feel is important. In my opening statement, I made mention about pointing at our leaders for doing the wrong things, while other fingers are pointing back at us. We must become active citizens, because right here in this country, we have people who are defending the people that are in power. And these are co-followers like us. These are people that will sing the songs and the names of those people that are doing us harm, those people that are oppressing us. So it is a battle, in my own sense, between the elites and the masses. And the masses themselves are not properly organized as the elites are. The elites are collectively organized on corruption, on oppressing us, and ensuring that we don't get the dividends of democracy. But the masses are divided around different lines, political party lines. If you talk now about the government, some people will say it's because you're not APC. If you're talking on some other terms, they will say you're now speaking for the opposition. But there is an office of the citizen, which is the most powerful office in the land.
Thank you very much.
People must understand that they need to hold our leaders accountable.
Thank you very much.
you.
So, if you live in a local government, can you raise up your hand? Just show me by waving. Where you live in a local government. Wave your hands. All of us live in a local government. How many of us have seen the budget of our local government? Hey, don't tell me they don't have.
They have.
So, as educated people, and you live in that local government for as long as you have lived, have you ever seen the budget of your local government? If I hold what belongs to you, and I'm keeping what belongs to you, and from time to time I come and tell you that I need to give you glasses because your eye is bad, or I bring high blood pressure medicine as medical outreach, and you don't know that in the budget I'm supposed to provide drugs for your hospital, the Nigerian language is carrying me. They don't carry us along. Is that not so? I'm giving you an assignment. Everyone that is here, take the pains to look for the budget of your local government in the last 3 years and match what has been approved, what has been cleared, and what you have on the ground. That is your first assignment as you leave this place. Bauer, your closing shots, because we're going to have to go off, and then we come back to the panel later.
Well, quickly, let me say this. We have to look at some issues, even as we look at 2023. One of the things I want to bring home, and for us will be our take, home take, is that citizens' power. We have the power. We are at the supreme, at the pinnacle. We determine what happens. But looking at Nigeria's election, one thing that is fundamentally crucial is for us, we must understand that transactional politics have taken the political space. We must actually discourage the issue of money to have a premium value. We must come to a point that we have leaders with conscience to say, in spite of your money, I'm going to work, I'm turning it down, because I need men of quality and character to be there. You cannot also blame all the issue of bad leadership on leaders alone, even the followership. We can bring these people to book and accountability. Why do we do that? For instance now, if not because of poverty, hunger, sentiment, or parochial interest, we can't go to a point to say, government, this is the way you should go. There are many things we can do. We must begin to animate conversation on this thing. How do we hold them accountable? So thank you.
So one of the things that we have done as citizens is to initiate a town hall. We are the owners of this town hall. No political party, no political interest is funding this meeting. This meeting is funded completely and wholly from the pocket of the convener. I'm putting this out so that it is very clear. It is a citizen engagement. So you also have a right in your own small spaces as NBA, as NMA, to organize town halls. I want to see Nigerian Medical Association in Plateau organizing a town hall and inviting the Commissioner of Health, inviting the heads of different health districts, and say, look, there are 20 primary health institutions in Plateau State. Only 5 are working. Can you tell us why? I want to see Nigerian Union of Journalists organize their own town hall and say, Mr. Governor, you are leaving. What kind of legacy are you leaving for the people of Plateau? An accountability town hall meeting. So it is not just saying until you know the political parties and the rest of them do this and that. We as citizens can begin to reorganize these things and organize platforms and invite the politicians. During elections, it is important for you to know that the polling units.
No, you can't interrupt like that. Can you just wait? Let him finish his thoughts, please. Please, 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 please. Can you just hold it, please?
What's the challenge?
You said youth needs to be engaged. The first 5 speakers were above 35.
It doesn't. See, let me tell you something. Now, hold on. Let me tell you something. As the person who is sitting down here, I am the initiator of the Not Too Young to Run. I am above that age. So don't come with that intimidation. It is disrespectful for you to stand up in a public meeting and want to impose your view. Because, so can you sit down? Can you sit down now?
Well, Well, you know, he's my student. When I come here, one of the things I like is that having taught for the past 42 years in the university system, I want to come out so that to observe some of those things I've been teaching, how it's working. The last bit I want actually to say is that docility. We have to engage. Democracy is not for illiterates. It cannot be for illiterates. I like what he said recently. Groups, NGOs, you know, the courts are not working. What we rely on now are NGOs, pressure group. That is what is all over the world. It is the NGOs that are pushing things. The traditional system is no longer working.